This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Hello and welcome back to Tudor's Dynasty and Beyond. I'm your host, Rebecca Larson, and this is the Sunday episode where I tell you a story about one amazing woman in history. In today's episode, we turn our attention to Caroline of Ansbach, intellectual, queen consort, and one of the most politically astute women to sit behind a British throne. Behind the magnificence of court life in the early 18th century, Caroline was a powerful figure, a patron of the arts, a supporter of science and medicine, and a trusted advisor to King George II. But her story also reveals the quiet burdens carried by women in power, of personal sacrifice, family tensions, and hidden pain. On the 1st of March, 1683, Caroline of Brandenburg-Ansbach was born to John Frederick Margrave of Brandenburg-Ansbach and his wife, Princess Eleanor Erdmuth of Saxe-Eisenach. Her father was the ruler of the Margravate of Brandenburg-Ansbach and would die when Caroline was only 3. Her mother remarried in 1692 to the Elector of Saxony, John George VI. This loveless marriage produced one child, Friedrich August von Brandenburg-Ansbach von Hohenzollern. Her mother would die only 10 years later, leaving her and her full brother Frederick William orphans. It would be in the Prussian court where she was surrounded by artists, architects, writers, and intellectuals who exposed her to many different forms of visual arts. This is also where she would find her love of science and where she would meet Voltaire, who spoke highly of Caroline. She was educated in the ideals of Enlightenment and a devout Lutheran, which would shape her views as the Princess of Wales later on in life. She would marry the Elector of Hanover's son, the future King George II, George Augustus, but not after turning down the Holy Roman Emperor's marriage proposal. She refused to convert to Catholicism. Caroline impressed the future George II so much that he is quoted saying that he would not think of anybody else after her. The couple married in Hanover and Chapel Herrenhausen in 1705. Moving with him to England in 1714, George and Caroline would be given the titles of Prince and Princess of Wales. This was the first time in English history a woman would receive the title at the same time as her husband. Their marriage would be diplomatically sound and domestically peaceful, with the couple having 8 children together. Just because someone's marriage was peaceful does not mean it was a happy one. George was known for his extracurriculars in bed, most notably with Henriette Howard. Caroline held herself with grace and poise, really taking "keep your friends close but your enemies closer" to heart. She appointed Howard as the woman of the bedchamber, and later mistress of the robes. Caroline would remain faithful to George, earning her widespread respect, making her more influential within her own court. In 1707, the union of England and Scotland confirmed the Hanoverian succession to the English throne. This did not go over well with the exiled House of Stuart. George I struggled with connecting with his subjects. He frequently traveled, spending lots of time in Hanover. His relationship with his son, George Augustus, was also strained. George and Caroline would be banished from English court in 1717 after the birth of their second son, Prince George William. It was over a disagreement on who would become the godparents for their newborn son. Their children would be left in the care of the king, leading to mental turmoil for Caroline. Caroline's struggles with mental health shed light on the broader challenges faced by women in positions of power during the 18th century. At the time, mental illness, especially among aristocratic women, was often trivialized or dismissed. Conditions like anxiety and depression were frequently labeled as melancholy, thought to stem from the presumed frailty of the female constitution and a life deemed too sedentary. Historical records often downplayed or ignored these issues, shaped by societal expectations that women, particularly those in power, should appear composed and unwavering. Caroline's ability to navigate and endure these private struggles while fulfilling her public role stands as a testament to her resilience and inner strength. As Princess of Wales, Caroline cultivated a reputation as a thoughtful, intellectual, and dedicated patron of the arts. Her personal library at St. James's Palace reflected her passion for learning, containing volumes of philosophy, poetry, and fiction. A supporter of composer George Friedrich Handel, Caroline helped establish his music as a hallmark of the British royal court. She also championed scientific and medical progress, notably advocating for the then controversial practice of smallpox inoculation. Caroline's reformist spirit extended beyond cultural influence. She was an early advocate for prison reform and showed a sincere concern for issues of social inequality. Her forward-thinking approach and dedication to public welfare distinguished her from many of her peers, marking her as a progressive voice in an era of slow change. When George I died in 1727, George Augustus became King George II, and Caroline was crowned Queen Consort. Far more than a ceremonial figure, Caroline played a vital role in the political life of the court. Her influence over the king and her talent for mediation were key factors in securing the early stability of his reign. Among her most notable political achievements was persuading George II to retain Robert Walpole as prime minister. Though the king harbored a personal dislike for Walpole, Caroline recognized his value in maintaining parliamentary order. Her partnership with Walpole, rooted in mutual respect, allowed her to influence significant political decisions from behind the scenes. Caroline's competence was further demonstrated during her regencies, when George II was away in Hanover. In 1729, she helped oversee the negotiation of the Treaty of Seville, which eased tensions with Spain and bolstered Britain's diplomatic position. These periods of regency revealed her steady hand in governance and her ability to lead during times of uncertainty. Despite her many public achievements, Caroline's personal life was marked by deep challenges, especially in her relationship with her eldest son, Frederick, Prince of Wales. Frederick's reckless behavior, including his gambling and dubious associations, created ongoing tensions within the royal family. Caroline grew increasingly concerned about his fitness to eventually succeed his father, and their troubled relationship echoed the earlier generational rift between George I and George II. These domestic strains added another layer to Caroline's already demanding role as queen. While she remained committed to preserving the monarchy's stability and reputation, the emotional toll of her family's discord, particularly with her children, was a constant source of sorrow. In November 1735, Queen Caroline fell seriously ill with what was initially thought to be colic. Despite various popular remedies, such as Daffy's elixir, snake root, and brandy, her condition worsened. Doctors eventually diagnosed a strangulated umbilical hernia, which she had hidden for years. A painful surgery failed, and Caroline suffered severe symptoms in her final days. She refused to see her estranged son, Prince Frederick, fearing he would delight in her suffering. Instead, she showed affection for her other children, particularly Prince William. Caroline died on the 20th of November, surrounded by her family. Her funeral was a modest affair by royal standards, with George Frederick Handel composing a special anthem and bells tolling across London. Queen Catherine's story reminds us that influence isn't always loud or visible. Through intellect, empathy, and strategic insight, she shaped the course of British politics, culture, and social progress, all while navigating the limitations placed on her as a woman in power. Her legacy lives on, not just in the libraries she cherished or the reforms she championed, but in the quiet strength with which she balanced public duty and personal struggle. That wraps up this Sunday episode of Tudors, Dynasty, and Beyond. Thank you so much for joining me today. Whether you're a longtime listener or new to the show, I truly appreciate your support. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. It's completely free and helps others find the show. And if you're craving more history during the week, be sure to check out our Tuesday and Thursday episodes featuring interviews with authors and historians, where Thursdays are now Dr. Emma and me. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the past.